Welcome to Brush and Beyond, where we see the world through an artist's eyes and learn to express our own worlds. Welcome back to Brush and Beyond. Today we're going to be doing our pumpkin-inspired artwork by Yayoi Kusama. Welcome back, everyone. Today the materials we will need are acrylic paint, air-dry clay, water, a Sharpie, pencil, brush, hot glue, and a piece of paper that is colorful for your choice. So the first thing that we're going to do is split the paper up. So this design is inspired by Yayoi Kusama, and her artworks rely a lot on different patterns, and these patterns are completely up to you what you choose to do. So it's also up to you how you want to split your paper up. It could be diagonally like I did mine, which you saw me do earlier, or you can do horizontally, split in half. You can do more than 2 different patterns, but it's totally up to you. If you want to do something similar to Yayoi Kusama, I would suggest doing polka dots like I'm doing right here. She, if you remember, uses on her pumpkin designs and pretty much all of her designs the polka dot, and she made it really, really popular and a huge movement in art, and so I'm going to also be doing that. So you can see me here using markers, and if you want to do a different pattern, you can also use any other materials like paint. It's completely up to you, and you don't have to do it in black. You can do any color you'd like. Here I'm just adding an extra few more dots and circles just to make the pattern look a little bit more random and interesting to look at. So now I'm using blue paint. So the reason that I'm doing this is because I wanted to use colors that really contrasted. So that means that the colors pop out really well when you look at them against one another. So you can see that the blue looks really, really bright against the hot pink paper. So if you're doing purple paper, you might want to use yellow paint, or if you're using yellow paper, maybe purple paint. And this goes for red and green and all the other complementary colors you can find on the color wheel. You can learn more about that in one of our other videos about David Hockney. But the color wheel is a really important principle when you're thinking about designing your artworks and the colors that you want to use, and it really depends on what kind of style you want it to have. So if you want contrasting colors, it'd be good to kind of look at the color wheel and see which ones are on opposite sides. So here I was really just coming up with any pattern that I thought might look nice. I ended up doing this kind of cross-hatched style, and you can see that I left the center a little bit empty, and that is because we are now going to work on our pumpkin, which is the more exciting aspect of this artwork. Yayoi Kusama famously used a lot of pumpkins in her designs, and so we're going to be doing that as well. She made a lot of 3D pumpkins and statues for different gardens and museums around the world, and so we're going to be kind of replicating that using air-dry clay. If you don't have air-dry clay, you can always get some. It's from the brand Crayola, which is what I'm using. There's also many other options out there, or you can just paint this pumpkin right onto your paper. So I will put up a picture right now of what the pumpkin kind of looks like that I'm trying to design. It's got 4 different sections. You can do more, but I'm trying to layer the pieces, as you can see. Some of them are thinner, and I place those underneath the thicker pieces so that there's a 3D component there. And the top part right there is the stem. Air dry clay is really easy to use because you can kind of just mold it with your hands and it will dry over time, and so if you need to still edit it. So now I'm putting the pumpkin right into the center of my paper, and I'm going to use my pencil to trace around where I need to place the hot glue. So what I'm basically doing is sticking the air dry clay pumpkin onto the paper. For the sake of time, I had to do this while the clay was still drying, but if you can, I think it would be better to wait for the clay to completely dry and then add it onto the paper. Now I'm going to use acrylic paint to paint the pumpkin. Again, for the interest of time, I'm doing this while the clay is still drying, so it's a little bit different, but you're going to go in with a bright yellow or any bright color that you want that you think would look nice on a pumpkin. It is really modern and abstract art, so it doesn't necessarily have to be realistic to what a pumpkin looks like, but again, pink, blue, and yellow are the really, really bright, pretty similar versions to the primary colors, and so that's why I chose to use these so they would all contrast. So now I'm just mixing a dark green for the stem and going in with that. So this is what your pumpkin should look like right now. I decided to go in with another layer of yellow paint just to make sure that all of the pumpkin was covered and that you couldn't see the clay underneath it. And so this is what your pumpkin should look like. Make sure to go in with the edges if you want a more clean look. So now here is the really fun part. I took a bunch of black acrylic paint and I used the back of this paintbrush. And the back of this paintbrush is a circle shape. And so instead of using marker, I was able to use paint, which made it really easy, and just kind of dot on the dots onto the pumpkin, which is what Yayoi Kusama does. If your marker doesn't have a perfectly round tip, you can also use the back of a pencil, or you can just wait for the clay to dry and then you can use a Sharpie. So down the center of each of these sections, I'm going in with large dots. And then as we move out towards the edges, I try and use lighter pressure to make smaller dots. You can also, if you have multiple paintbrushes, use a different size of paintbrush, or like I said, you can use a Sharpie. And then you can see here that I used a really small paintbrush to do the tiny dots towards the edge of the pumpkins. Now I'm doing this again with the outside layers, and I'm not really worrying about the edges because I'm just trying to get the paint on there. So I'm repeating the same process here with the outside pieces, using really, really light taps, trying not to put too much pressure, and just using a smaller marker tip to do this. So this is what your pumpkin piece should look like. This is the final product. You can add more things if you want. You can add more components, more colors, anything you want. But this is what your pumpkin should look like. Thank you guys all so much for joining us. We hope you have an amazing Thanksgiving and holiday season, and we will see you for our next videos. Thank you.